Good afternoon, everybody. Marty Richards with Richland Center Tourism here today with another episode of Why Do We Call It That? So this episode I find really personally interesting because I'm born and raised in Richland County, and for years I actually had never been to Woodstock. And I'm a big music fan, so Woodstock, New York, and the Woodstock Music Festival was always on my mind, and I just thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had a music festival in Woodstock, Wisconsin? Well, that may or may not happen, but today's episode of Why Do We Call It That? Really interesting, kind of a little bit of intrigue in this one too, and some little shenanigans going on. So originally in Woodstock, what happened, it was really settled in 1855 by Milton Satterley and Quentin Nix. They were very adventurous. They came to the area, and in 1855 they platted what was to be the city of Woodstock. And Woodstock was designed to become a quite large village and then ultimately city in the plans. So in 1855, when they came, there actually had been one discoverer immigrant that had come and settled the area prior to them by the name of Alexander Sayers. So Alexander Sayers kind of beat them to the punch, only he didn't settle here. He settled just a couple miles down the road from here, and he got the first post office, which was the Sayersville Post Office. Well, Alexander didn't plan on how to survive these things very well, because what he failed to do when he got the post office was become the postmaster. That was left to Milton Satterley. Milton Satterley stepped in as the postmaster, and we don't really know exactly what happened. There's not any detail to it. We just know there was an article and an announcement that came out that starting in late 1855, the post office in this area would be moved to Woodstock, and from that point forward would be called the Woodstock Post Office. So by 1856, essentially, Sayersville and any plans Alexander Sayers had of developing that area was kind of by the wayside. So from that point forward, the Nix and the Satterleys do a real nice job of developing the area. We know by the late 1880s that Woodstock is actually a growing and bustling town. There are several businesses employing quite a few people. There's a blacksmith, there is a tannery, there's also a ginseng operation. There was a washing and drying operation here because many of the local farmers raised ginseng at that point. There was also a brick kiln operation. They were making bricks for constructions of homes, and if you look in the area, you will find quite a few bricks that were actually made here and used for building those homes. And it was a stock company. There were several companies, along with there was a hotel, a barber, a church, and then there was a school. And the school in Woodstock was actually recognized as a very good and strong school. They did a great job. It was very common that actually other communities, and this was unusual at the time, but other neighboring communities would actually send their kids to Woodstock to go to school here. Now, early on, Woodstock only went to second and third grade, but if you made it to third grade and you graduated, then you became one of the teachers at the school, was also common. So moving forward, things are going great. Looks like everything is going to prosper. And then in the early 1900s, things start to kind of fall by the wayside. We know by 1913 that there were some of the businesses started to go out of business. I failed to mention one of the reasons it was important that they had the town here and why it prospered versus Sayersville was that it is on the on the banks of the west branch of the Pine River. And so, of course, how you knew you were a thriving community at that point, did you have a mill? And actually Woodstock had two of them, had a grist mill and also had a sawmill. So that usually was the anchor for your community if you wanted to grow to become a large city. So things were going quite well, the mills were going great, everything was happening, but we do see in the early 1900s that things start to change. We see that some businesses were going out of business, things are starting to falter, and really it's in 1931 where we kind of get that death blow that, okay, Woodstock is not going to be a municipality that's going to survive into the visions that the Satterleys and the Nix had that it would once be, and the mill burns down. So the grist mill burns down, and that was kind of the last straw to where from that point forward, the village or the city of Woodstock kind of goes on a pretty much a steady decline until it becomes really just a residential, sleepy area for folks that live and work in other areas to be. So, all of that's really cool. You got all the history of Woodstock, but you did not hear anything about how it got its name, right? So how Woodstock got its name, it's really not a notable story as much as everything else is. Most of the settlers came here from Woodstock, England. Now, little bit of a note that's kind of cool. They first settled when they came to the New World in upstate New York. That's right, Woodstock, New York, where we're all familiar with the festival in 1967, the music festival. Now, what's really cool is when you come to visit our area, we have our own music festival that's just a few miles up the road in Driftless Music Gardens that have just a huge 2021 set up for us for this summer. And they've got some really cool acts coming in, some big celebrations, still keeping mind of the COVID safe guidelines. We want to make sure everybody is here, has a great time, but is also healthy. But I encourage you, go on out and check driftlessmusicgardens.com. They have got a really cool slate of acts coming up. And just so you know, there is a little bit of a relationship in this area to Woodstock, New York and Woodstock, England. And that is how Woodstock, Wisconsin got its name. And that's why we call it that. So we hope you're enjoying all of our episodes. We encourage that you do share them with your friends on Facebook. Also, if you think we should do an episode, but you're not sure if we've already done an episode on a topic or on a location, just go on out to our YouTube channel, Richland Center Tourism. And you can see all the library of all the videos we've done, and maybe we've already done that video you're looking for. Okay? So, we hope everybody's having a great day, and we look forward to seeing you soon. For Richland Center Tourism, I'm Marty Richards. Have a fantastic day.